Welcome, everybody. Now we're going to bring on Robert Wood. Robert Wood is known as the Spirit Aura. He's going to be speaking today about Death Hold, the Blessings of Resurrection. He is a spirit channeling the higher self. He's a teacher, a coach, an advisor. He reads auras. And he reads energy. He's a card reader, a palm reader. He's into crystals, and he's a channel. And he's an amazing being. He just moved here from Boulder, Colorado, and he's my buddy. So enjoy Robert. He's a lot of fun, and he'll probably open it up for opportunity for Q&A. So enjoy, Robert. You got the floor for 25 minutes.
Yahoo! And we have such a great blessing for Sheri. Hasn't she done just a fabulous job? I've been so busy in the show, I can't stand it. Just rocking and rolling. So thank you, Sheri. All the fabulous work you're doing is paying off. You just receive how many people are helping you. And there's always something in you that we want to destroy because we know that you're born at that time of Capricorn energy that has to be embracing all the death that you understand how to destroy. And then as we're moving to this new season, we can have a sense of understanding the resurrection and embracing the deep idea of resurrection. It's almost Easter time, isn't it, right? We're ready for Easter time. And most of us are doing lots of learning in our lives. Our lives is just this wonderful life experience. We know that we're all spiritual. And when you have an embrace of yourself as a spiritual being, there's kind of a deep awakening that you have that you're more than your body. You're more than your thinking. You're more than your circumstances. You're an eternal being. I like to say all the time, I am still as God created me. I am pure consciousness. And when the more that you find your divine presence, the more you recognize your pure God self, then the easier it is for you to deal with death. There is an understanding that's just phenomenal about the universe. And that is before any life form ever existed on this planet, before anything that we would call a life form happened, there was this wonderful, magnificent experience in the universe where there was gigantic explosions, masterful emergence and great explosions into light, and stars were born. And then stars would have an experience of death, and they would die, and they would condense into these deep, dark, black matters that were so thick and so dense. If you were to stand on them, you'd become a pancake that would melt instantly. And so in the idea that the universe was forming from beginning to constantly every day of our existence now, it is dying and it is rebirthing. Because a star will die and blow up in a complete billions and billions of areas of light years, and then it will burst out this beautiful material that is constantly being transformed and changed. And this is the life matter and the life form energy that has allowed us animals, plants, minerals, and energies to form. You are the stardust of the universe, and everything, the molecules and atoms and all the beings of your existence happened because something had to die for something to have to be born. But what happens to us humans? What would you guess that happens to us humans as we start to be born and live our lives? Well, simply put, we develop a very false identity of ourselves. We start believing that we're a body. We start getting condensed into an idea that we're a separate self. We start believing that we're more important than the nature of the universe. And so that in that whole process of misunderstanding ourselves and who we really are, this misunderstanding of ourselves, we become afraid. We get caught up in the lower mind of survival. We feel insecure and scared that we're a tiny little being. And then we get so misaligned with the universe that our fears and our survival and our trying to survive as a separate little personality creates all this fear that we misunderstand death. We don't understand the death process. And until you learn the death process correctly in yourself in the right ways, you will just live and walk around as a scared little human being in a false identity of yourself, trying to survive. And then the more separate you feel, then you think that you're kind of going to be somebody else's lunch. And then you'll fight and destroy. And we see a lot of the darkness in humanity. You love beings, and you people that are enlightened, you're living in a higher consciousness. So when you learn that you're not afraid, you're not scared, you're not living only in survival, you don't have to feel extra special to think you're insecure. When you don't live from these lower vibrational human self, then you're not afraid of death. And then as you exist as a being with a spiritual purpose, and you understand your spiritual purpose in life, and that's what I do when I do soul readings, I help souls understand why they come here. You see, even though you form a little matrix of yourself as kind of a mini little solar system, and you have all these swirling ideas around who you think you are, your soul energy or this higher you wants to come into this personality and shape your life with higher purpose. And that sense that you know yourself as a soul is the idea that you're not afraid of death at all, because you don't think of yourself as a body or a personality or this little survival thing against life. You see yourself as the soul. On my spiritual journey, I was very lucky to wake up, and my wake up process was I was thrown out of my body. I'd never had much experience of that. I was thrown out of my body and saw my soul, and that woke me up. Now, luckily, with lots of years of meditation and working on myself, 40 years later, I never look at myself as just this tiny little human being. I see myself from the soul, and I'm not afraid of any kind of death that occurs. I've had many, many, many times of death, and every day we face death every single day. And so death is a very important part of life, and learning what to destroy and how something should be destroyed so it can die is what then facilitates the rebirth. The rebirth is the promise and the guarantee and the certainty, if a death happens correctly, that you will be thrown into a rebirth. For many of the rebirths I've had in my life have been a complete change in my life, where a relationship completely died and fell apart, and then I rebirthed into my own self-development, and then a new relationship came. It also came when I quit my real estate career and became a spiritual teacher. I'm kind of a little bit in a completion of a death cycle because I'm in retirement now, and I moved away from my home in Boulder, Colorado, and I'm living in South Florida now, creating this wonderful kind of retirement life for myself. So when we master and understand what is really death and how to enjoy it, how to experience it in the many ways that life attempts us to experience it, then through that process, we come into, okay, now I see my rebirth. Life is a simple continuation. It always is nothing but continuation. You can never get out of the universe. You can never get out of your true self. Everything in the universe is nothing but a huge container. So if you go into a small container and you drop that small container that you call your body, or if you eliminate your personality self, the only thing you can do is expand. The idea of heaven is the idea that you expand. The idea of hell is that you become more contracted. And so when you become more contracted, that's what the universe does. The energy gets sucked out of you and you contract. What causes a star to collapse is because it burns for billions of years and all the energy gets released from it, and then it just collapses. So when you learn to understand that life is that way in your little microcosmic self, and the energy gets sucked out of you, you collapse and die in that personality, then you expand or you contract more into a denser self, or you expand into a soul self. And then if you're even a soul self, you can expand from those deaths into a higher oversoul self. And if you keep expanding, you'll be nothing but God itself, because you still are as God created you. Nothing can destroy your beautiful, pure, eternal self. Isn't that a wonderful way to look at your life? Nothing can ever destroy what I was created to be. And any kind of death is simply shedding a skin or a false identity of who I think I am. And that is so important that we know how to go through that process. And of course, the most beautiful example of all was the example of Jesus, who was really understanding this, was willing to sacrifice and put himself on the cross and die so he could produce and create for all of us an awareness of a light body. It's not the first time that this happened. This has happened many, many times, and it's happening all the time, that souls that correctly die and they complete their karma 100%, then they get a light body. And that light body can go into many, many different dimensions, as well as appear and show itself in this dimension. That's a great goal to work toward. And when you learn how to destroy your personality self that doesn't really serve you any longer, it's like a shedding of a skin. It's releasing, it's like an animal coming out of an old shell. Then that releasing of that old identity correctly will cause you to rise up into an ascension process. And then you'll see yourself in the quantum light dimension that so many people talk about. And from that energy, you'll be given more and more instruction and more ideas of what your rebirth and your higher purpose will keep on looking like. So how do we die to our lower self? How do we enjoy death? How do we reverse that fear that I'm not going to live for eternity? How do I get rid of those fearful thoughts and dark thoughts and those limitations that I'm not good enough, that lower matrix of your mind? Well, you have to work a lot in your first and second chakra. You have to learn how to be a destroyer and make sounds and tones and energies. The whole universe is always giving you clues about this, because what the universe shows you is the idea of how stars collapse and then explode. So inside of yourself is the same ability to release all your negative energy and let it die and explode. And then the darkness in your spiritual self will just feel very light. Whenever you let go of something, no matter how painful it is, maybe you let go of a relationship that's not serving you. Maybe you know it's time to walk away from a job. Maybe you're ready to get rid of that car that's kind of partly broken down, but you don't think you deserve a better car. There's many, many examples you'll have throughout your entire life of what it really means to let go. You can squeeze your hands really, really tightly and then let go. You can take a big, big breath and hold it as tight as you possibly can, and then learn how to release and let go. You can always feel when you're sitting on the bathroom stool that you are letting go of something that doesn't serve you, and release it out of your body and out of your mind and out of your spirit. When you practice meditation, you can constantly feel that every thought you think is emptying out of your mind. And that you can, I love to sit on the ocean now and throw my thoughts into the ocean and imagine the ocean dissolves it. If there's a thought that I don't like, it's like a cloud. I've many times laid and looked up at the sky and melted a cloud into nothingness, because my energy is looking at it, causes it to melt away. And then I can release and dissolve and embrace the emptiness, the clearness of the void. Never be afraid of the void. Never be afraid of being empty. Always know that the more you empty yourself and release and let yourself have a true deep death, that will cause you to rise. You will feel you're held. You will go into the white light, and you will be loved and nurtured by Mother. The divine Mother essence of life will always hold you and contain you and show you the next step of the journey that you will walk on, and that's your rebirth. So happy Easter, happy resurrection throughout the humanity of man walking on this earth for 30,000 years. We have always celebrated rebirth. We have always celebrated Easter. We've always lived for the idea that new things are being born. And now you can realize how to do this in yourself every single day, and not be afraid, not be a survivor, not try to fight against the life, and go with the current of where your soul wants to take you. Your soul wants to take you into the ascension of your light self. It wants to make you back into the awareness you're more than anything you can think of yourself as, and you're ready to get into an incredible light dimension. Any questions? Anybody would like to ask how they could die a little bit more better than they have been practicing?
How to die better. That's a good one. That's a good title.
Die better. Die more fully. Come on and really die to that limited self that you think you are. Destroy it and make it completely disappear.
Do you want to open it up and do any questions?
I am.
Okay.
That's what I'm doing. Who wants to ask me something? How much time do I have, sweet one?
About 5 minutes.
All right, I'll take any question. If I stimulated a thought or an idea with you, please share it.
You might go a little bit longer because she just went to take the COVID test and she's running late. So.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah, so you can just keep going and I'll let you know. I'm trying to find her. So.
Anyone else jumping in here? How do we know if they want to ask a question?
Just raise your hand in the reaction. Just that little thing on the bottom, it says raise hand.
Oh, there we go. Sheri raised her hand. Yep. Who has someone
raise the hand? Let's get someone we haven't heard from already. Gwendolyn, would you like a read? Sheri White, would you like a read?
Turn on your mic and I'll help you how to die in certain ways.
Erica. Thomas has already been on stage a few times. Let's get somebody new. Anybody else present? Christine, anybody here in the house?
I have a session with Robert, so I'm going to allow someone else to have it.
So you can still ask a quick question.
Anybody can ask a question, or I can just tell you that in this moment, if nobody wants to ask anything, we can all just have a deep breath and feel like what it takes to be empty. The whole energy that you want to experience in yourself is how empty, how released you are, how through the idea that if you relax, if you release, the universe will reveal something new to you. If you hold on to something and cling to it, then you block your chakras and you block your energy and you don't let something come into you. So if you die and release and let go, that will cause the revelation. And then through any kind of revelation, you will remember your true self. Those are my R's. Relax, release everything, have something revealed to you, and then remember. Who wants to really remember who you are as God created you and release all the false identities that you think you are? Or do you rather stick and hang on to your tiny little personality and believe you're fighting and struggling to survive in this tiny little life? That's the great spiritual question.
Hi, Robert.
Hi, sweet one.
Can you give us an example of one of your deaths and resurrection stories?
Okay, here we go. I've had many resurrection deaths. One was when I was a real estate broker, selling lots of houses, making $600,000 a year in real estate. I had a spiritual awakening. Within less than 6 months, I walked out of that business and went down to Florida to start teaching spiritual development and was sitting on the beach every day so happy. And my income was about $200 a month. And I was the happiest person in the world because through my spiritual following, money didn't matter. And I was 100% happy with zero. And I never have since then had a single concern about money because spirit always provides everything I need. So I went out from a greedy real estate broker making lots of money into a spiritual person that was happy with nothing, just totally content to be with God. That was a major rebirth. And I've had several of them since then. So thanks for asking.
Have you found, I'll jump in again. So have you found that with each one, it takes you to a higher level?
I constantly, every day in my meditation, let go. And many, many times I soul travel and I've been taken to many different dimensions. I many times merged with my soul and they teach me all kinds of wonderful things. They've shown me how to be a spiritual teacher and follow guidance and do channeling. I do channeling for other people so that my higher self joins immediately with your higher self. And then I get so out of the way that your self comes in and talks to me, uses my brain to talk to you. That's what I do when I channel. When anybody channels correctly, their personal self is so out of the way that the higher beings use them as a tool to come through and to channel for you and talk to you. That's what a channel does. So part of the learning to die and get your own personality thinking out of the way and have no thoughts what you think to somebody, that getting yourself out of the way makes you a clear channel. And that's a form of like death too, getting your own personal self out of the way. Because most of us come with a very preconditioned script of how someone is supposed to be or how life is supposed to be. We don't come to a person perfectly with them in the moment. We always have this pre-thinking of who they are, what's supposed to happen, and a precondition of what they might do if they say something we don't like to hear. So the more of a channel we are and don't have any concepts in our mind and how empty we are, then the highest vibration can come through us to be helpful. Because every single day in my meditation, I ask only to be truly helpful. That was a good question. Thanks for asking that.
Thank you, Robert. Thank you, Gwen, for asking that. So, Robert, would you like to offer a door prize?
Absolutely. Come to my room. I think I'm going to be pretty busy for the rest of the afternoon. They say they got a lot of appointments for me, but if you can get in and see me, please do. And if not, get my email and email me or call me. My number is 303, write this down, 570-0840. If you're a part of this show and I don't get to you today, then I'll give you the same price I did during the show because Sheri's so nice to bring you here to me. My door prize, if you don't get it in this show, is a free palm reading, a free, good time with me, and I'll just help you look at your soul.
So right now, I want you to write down on a piece of paper your prize number, and everybody write in the chat your prize, your winning prize number as well. If you already won a prize, it's only for first timers. So let's see some numbers in the chat if you want to have a reading with Robert. He's probably booked for the rest of the night. I heard he's very popular today.
Yeah, you've done a great job, Sheri. This is an awesome time here.
I know, I haven't even eaten yet.
Yeah, well, neither have I. So
Crazy.
I haven't eaten since 12 o'clock, but that's okay. I'm going to work till whatever.
That's right.
Who needs to eat? That's just a lower human thing. Mm-hmm. We don't need to eat.
Okay, so Robert, we have some numbers. Let's put in the chat. I'm going to do 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. What is your winning number, Robert?
9. 9 is for completion.
Did you have it written down?
Oh, did I write it down? Yeah. You want to see me write it down?
Yeah, let me hold it up. Yep, he's got a 9. So it looks like Sheri White got 13.
White. Oh, I love Sheri. I already talked to her. She's a beautiful one.
So Sheri White, congratulations. Make sure we get your email in the chat. And you probably won't be able to redeem it today, but you can always go to room number 2 and ask if he has any availability, or Robert will be in touch with you, or you in touch with him, and you can set it up on your own private time.
Yahoo! Thank you all. Happy death, happy resurrection, happy dying again. Keep on dying because you'll always see a new part of you emerging. That's the pure creativity. And that's why God always created you just exactly like the universe. You are a microcosm of the entire universe. The more you see yourself as the universe, you are happy to be you. Blessings.